For today's video, we're going to talk about the design of this shed. We'll discuss why it nearly didn't get built and how the internet came to my rescue. Now, when I started the Bexhill project, my intention was just to build the station building. After all, it's a local landmark and it's quite beautiful, so I thought that would suffice. However, as I got into it, I realised that to fully design the station building, I needed to consider the canopy behind it, and from that the canopy that ran down the platform, and from that the platforms themselves, and you know how it goes. The project sort of spiralled. So I set about designing all the buildings. But that which was the most troublesome for me was the goods shed. You see, I only had 3 photographs to work on. I'll put them on screen. You can see from these 3 photos that they're very grainy, and there's very little within the photo that I can use to scale them from. I could maybe count the number of wagons parked alongside the building and calculate its length that way, but it's still not ideal. And so I pondered on how I was going to solve the problem of finding out the information that I'd need. Having looked everywhere I could think of, I just couldn't find the information I needed to design the building properly, and I was on the verge of giving up. I'd almost decided that the goods shed at Bexhill West just wouldn't get built. Now, I've learned the internet can be a very, very useful place to find information out and connect with people who know something about what you're interested in. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I'm now making this video. So I had a quick search online and found the Disused Railways of Sussex Facebook group. Now, this has proven to be a complete goldmine, and I'm so grateful that I've signed up and joined their group. It began with me posting a photograph of the station building that I'd been working on, and I thought that might be of some interest to some of the members of that group. And it proved to be, and I had a lot of very complimentary feedback. But best of all was when I mentioned that I was working on the goods shed, I was directed to a whole set of photographs that really helped with everything I needed to know. So I'm truly grateful to Stuart Liggins and Paul Matthews for uploading photographs they took of the old Sidley goods shed many years ago. You see, Sidley goods shed at Sidley Station was only about a mile away from Bexhill West, but the goods shed design was identical, albeit the one at Bexhill West was about twice as long, but the basic design was the same. So I was able to use the photographs of Sidley goods shed, count the bricks, check the brick bonds in the different places on the building, and from that create a drawing. An additional benefit from joining the group was that one of the members recommended I read this book. Now, this book has proved to be really valuable. It's full of scale drawings of everything I needed to know, and had I seen it right from the word go, I could have saved myself an awful lot of time scaling all the buildings from photographs. So it just goes to show that best not jump into a project until you've done all the homework that you could have done first of all. Certainly would have saved me loads of time. Now then, despite the quality of the drawings in this book, there are some inconsistencies and inaccuracies. So I've been able to address those, and I think I've come up with now what is probably a fairly accurate final drawing. It then came as an additional bonus, a real shot in the arm if you like, when a gentleman by the name of Luke Arnold, who works on the railway himself, he's a signalman, was able to send me some drawings of a survey that was done of Sidley goods shed in 2002, so quite up to date. When I overlaid the drawings he sent me with that which I'd produced, it sort of confirmed that I was really in the right ballpark with my measurements, sizes and what have you. So with that in mind, I doubled its length and produced the drawing for Bexhill West. Of course, it means that now I've invested the time in producing the drawings for Sidley. I've now got to work right the way up the line and do the buildings for the whole line. But we'll come to that another time. So this is the goods shed from Bexhill West. As you can see, it's quite an impressive building. Very, very long, with lots and lots of windows. Now I still haven't fitted the window frames into this, but I do have a couple of examples. These aren't the final ones that will be fitted, but these were actually offcuts, but I can pop them in, and these will give a view or an idea of just how splendid I think this will look when all the windows are in for real. There is a lean-to office that comes off the side of the building on this location, with steps up from ground level to a raised floor level which matches the platform inside the building. This door here will be an internal door that leads from the office onto the platform of the goods shed. On the yard side of the building were two massive doorways where presumably horses and carts and later trucks could arrive with their wagons and be loaded with the goods from the trains. And inside the building were sliding doors which would have opened and closed. That's an idea of what the door's like inside. And there were two canopies that projected above these loading areas. On the rail side of the shed, if you like, was an impressive row of I think 15 or 16 lovely big windows which make for a really nice view into the building. I think when the model's finished it's going to be quite nice to look inside and see what's going on. The inside of this building will end up becoming quite detailed. With that in mind, I've tried to incorporate most of the roof timbering, and there will be purlins added to this before the final roof covering, so that if we look along from inside, I hope that we can get a nice view down the building. Should make for some nice photographs. Now, since I started making this video a week ago, there's been a little bit of progress. I've roughed out the office, complete with a little fireplace. That's more or less ready to go. Obviously it still needs the brickwork finishing off. And I've made a couple of canopies to go over the loading doors. Now, none of these pieces are painted properly yet. This is just in primer at the moment, but you get the idea. This will sit just here. At the other end of the shed, I won't move the camera now, but as far as I can tell, the canopy was much longer, although the door it went over was the same size. So I think if I show it here, it's sort of oversailed to one side a little bit. I'm not sure if that's correct, but as far as I can tell from the photographs, that's hopefully more or less right. I've also, if I turn this round, I've got some windows now in primer. They need to be fitted up finally, but you can get the idea. And the roof is done, or rather the roof under structure, if you like, is done. This will now be tiled with slates, and obviously there'll be little glazed areas in here. Now, when this model's finished, my plan is to build it up as a diorama and use it for taking photographs. But I'm held up with that at the moment because I can't get hold of any Pico bullhead track just at the moment. However, I have been collecting some bits of rolling stock, which I'd like to introduce you to now. So the first one, these are my 3 pieces of rolling stock, is a nice furniture van, and it's Tunbridge Wells livery. My idea was, because I don't know what wagons and what have you would have actually been at Bexhill West at the time, I thought I'd try and collect rolling stock that maybe had an address on or a name or something that meant something to me. So as I have connections with Tunbridge Wells, I thought we'd have a furniture van, a little coal truck, also Tunbridge Wells. I'm very pleased with that. And finally, my day job is in Southborough. So I've got myself a Southborough wagon. So there you go, there's the first 3 wagons for the Bexhill West project. And fortunately, they fit through the door. I hope you found that interesting, how I came to design my goodshed. However, I probably owe you a bit of an apology. You see, when I started making this video a week ago, it was my intention to show you the genesis of my goodshed project, but really focus my time on showing you how I scaled from the photographs and what exactly counting the bricks means, because it's not quite as obvious as it sounds, although it can be. But I was going to show you specifically how I use the computer to do so and try and achieve accuracy. However, that required producing some graphics, and as I got into it, the video started to grow to a point where it was just going to be too long, and I didn't want people to switch off before we got to the good bit. In addition, I've had some wonderful email correspondence this week, particularly one piece from a gentleman who was interested in a detail on a particular station that he's modelling, and he wanted some advice. Well, within 20 minutes of reading his email, I was able to forward him scaled drawings of the station that he was looking at. And I thought the process that I used to obtain those drawings is probably not well known and probably of great value to everyone. So rather than make an overly long video for this week, talking all about bricks and counting them and CAD and all the rest of it, I thought I'd roll that together with this research method that I just hinted at all together and make that a separate video of its own. So I'm aware today's really just been a show and tell from me, and maybe a bit boring, and I apologise if you found it so. But I think that our next video should be of much greater value to many people. So I thought it's probably better to work it that way round. And finally, thanks for all of the emails and the comments. It really is tremendous, and I'm really enjoying interacting with many of you outside of YouTube. That's brilliant. There has been questions about when is my CAD series coming, and the truth is I'm probably 30%, maybe 40% of the way through filming that. It's all planned, and I think we've got a curriculum, if that's the right word, which is going to work for most people. I'm still unsure as to whether or not it should be several long videos, or my current preference, which is to make lots of snappy little 5-minute videos that look at a particular skill, and then I will probably upload those Netflix style in one go, together with a kind of an amalgamation of all the separate elements into one long video, so it'll be very easy to navigate to bits that you want. And if I give each video a very clear title about what it's about, then hopefully people will be able to access the information they need. So for the meanwhile, I hope the videos I am putting up show the potential of CAD, hopefully show you some examples of opportunities that it presents, so that when we get to do the CAD tutorials for real, I'll have a reference that I can divert you to and say, well, go and have a look at that video because that's where I used it, or this was good for whatever. So I hope that format works, and for those of you who've already said you're looking forward to it, then brilliant. I hope I come up with something that meets your expectation. So until next time, bye bye everyone.